20 Best Things to Do in Paris, France. Number 20 Galeries Lafayette Paris Haussmann. Whether or not you plan to shop, the Galeries Lafayette Paris Haussmann department store is a sight to be seen. What started as a small novelty shop in 1893 has since grown into an approximately 750,000 square foot megastore containing hundreds of brands, from budget-friendly options like Levi's and Carhartt to high-end labels like Prada and Cartier. And while you might be dazzled by the unending collection of fashionable goods, don't forget to look up. The piece de resistance of the luxury bazaar is the stunning Neo-Byzantine glass dome 141 feet above the ground. There's also a glass walkway on the top floor of the building that allows the bravest of visitors to stand above all the action below. Saint-Germain-des-Prés. Number 19. The arts abound in Paris. Although visual art gets the most attention here, the city is also a historic literary center. Saint-Germain, in the 6th arrondissement, is known as a 19th and 20th century intellectual hub. Here, great writers, thinkers and artists mixed and mingled in their homes and nearby establishments. Anyone battling writer's block will want to spend an afternoon wandering its picturesque streets, stopping by famous literary cafes or enjoying one of the museums located in the neighborhood's borders. Musée Rodin. Number 18. A hidden jewel in the city, the Musée Rodin is actually the former residence of famed 19th century sculptor Auguste Rodin. But in the place of furniture and kitschy lawn ornaments are Rodin's emotive sculptures, including the Walking Man, the Kiss and the Thinker, among many more. In addition to the sculptures, the museum houses 8,000 of the artist's drawings in its collection. A fraction of those are on display, as well as an area dedicated to the work of his muse and mistress, artist Camille Claudel. Visitors will also get to view pieces from the Rodin's personal art collection, including paintings by Van Gogh. Versailles Palace, Château de Versailles. Number 17. In summer, the palace hosts weekend fountain shows in the gardens, featuring music and special effects. Come on a Saturday night to see the best, with grounds lit up to magical effect and a firework display at the end. Le Marais. Number 16. On Place des Vosges, Paris's oldest square, you'll find the former house of Victor Hugo, which is now a museum that's free to enter. Straddling the 3rd and 4th arrondissements, districts, Le Marais is one of Paris' oldest and coolest districts, so cool, in fact, that French writer Victor Hugo, author of The Hunchback of Notre Dame and Les Miserables, called it home. With all of its cobblestone streets, stately stone architecture and tucked-away courtyards, it's easy to feel as if you're strolling through medieval Paris. Palais Garnier Opéra National de Paris. Number 15. A masterpiece of architectural opulence, the Opéra Garnier, also known as the Palais Garnier, still exudes the opulence it radiated in the late 1800s. This palpable sense of intrigue and mystery that permeates the opera is due in part to its awe-inspiring old-world interiors as well as Gaston Leroux, the author of Phantom of the Opera, for which the Garnier served as his inspiration. Leroux claimed the phantom was indeed real, successfully incorporating real-life opera occurrences, such as the chandelier falling and killing a bystander, into his fiction. The Garnier's lack of a robust historical record, as well as Leroux's writing talents, have left many wondering if there really was a dweller that lurked beneath the opera. Pantheon. Number 14. Situated in the Latin Quarter, or the 5th arrondissement, of Paris, the Pantheon is a large church and burial ground with a storied history. The structure was completed in 1790 at the start of the French Revolution, and it served as a mausoleum, a church and an art gallery throughout its early years. In 1851, scientist Léon Foucault installed the Foucault pendulum within the building to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth. The pendulum was removed and replaced a number of times, and a replica was installed in 1995 and is still in operation today. The Pantheon also contains a crypt where a number of important historians, philosophers, scientists, and writers are buried, including Voltaire, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, and Marie Curie. Sainte-Chapelle. Number 13. Nowhere in Paris does stained glass windows quite as well as Sainte-Chapelle. The panes, dating back to the chapel's construction in the 13th century, depict 1,113 scenes from the Old and New Testaments of the Bible in vivid color. Sainte-Chapelle, which took just 7 years to build, is a treasured example of French Gothic architecture and originally held Christian artifacts acquired by Louis IX. Jardin des Tuileries. Number 12. While you're here, don't miss Angelina, just across the street on Rue de Rivoli. This historic, Belle Époque-style salon de the opened in 1903 and serves excellent French delicacies and pastries alongside its famous, indulgently rich hot chocolate. Centre Pompidou. Number 11. The Centre Pompidou is one of the most visited cultural sites in Paris. But keep this in mind, and recent travelers attest to this: if you're not a fan of modern art, you probably won't enjoy this museum. The Pompidou is all modern and contemporary art, think Cubist, Surrealist and pop art, among others. Even its exterior is a little out there, with its insides, piping, plumbing, elevators, escalators, etc., exposed on the outside. Sacred Heart Basilica of Montmartre, Sacré-Cœur. Number 10. Rising high above Paris, the Sacré-Cœur, meaning Sacred Heart, looks more like a white castle than a basilica. Towering over the eclectic neighborhood of Montmartre, once a hangout for Paris' bohemian crowd, this Roman Byzantine, 19th century masterpiece is easily recognized by its ornate ivory domes. As blanched as it may appear on the outside, the basilica's interior is a sight worth beholding. The ceilings glitter with France's largest mosaic, which depicts Jesus rising alongside the Virgin Mary and Joan of Arc. Luxembourg Gardens, Jardin du Luxembourg. Number 9 in. Pick up picnic provisions at a nearby farmer's market, such as Marché Raspail, to enjoy in the gardens. Anne Henson, Assistant Managing Editor. A warm weather oasis that offers the simplest of pleasures, the Luxembourg Gardens provide ample green space, 60 acres, for sun-soaking and people watching, plus there are plenty of activities to keep kids entertained. When the city bustle becomes too overwhelming, meander around the paths and formal gardens, or just relax with a picnic. Musée d'Orsay. Number 8. Visit on the first Sunday of the month for free entry, when it's also free to enter the Centre Pompidou, Musée de l'Orangerie, Musée du Rodin, Musée Picasso, and several other attractions. Housed in a former railway station along the left bank, the Musée d'Orsay is regarded for its rich collection of Impressionist works. You'll see paintings by French artists like Degas, Monet, Cézanne and Van Gogh, among many, many others. The museum also houses a number of sculptures, as well as photography and even furniture displays. And if you climb to the museum's top balcony, you can catch a breathtaking view of the Sacré-Cœur Basilica through the museum's massive transparent clock. Seine River. Number 7. You won't have much trouble finding the Seine, as it flows directly through the heart of Paris. The river is perhaps one of the most famous waterways in the world and an attraction in itself. It's also useful for more practical reasons. It flows from east to west, dividing the city into the left bank and the right bank. Knowing where you are in relation to the Seine can help you find your way around during your trip. Latin Quarter. Number 6. If you're in the area, check out the Grande Mosquée de Paris, next to the Jardin des Plantes. It's a beautiful mosque with a hidden-away courtyard, and there's an atmospheric tea room attached that serves Middle Eastern sweet treats. Architecture lovers should not miss the Latin Quarter. Also known as the Fifth Arrondissement, the Latin Quarter is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Paris. Its narrow cobblestone streets, winding whimsically through the larger city grid, recall its medieval history. Why does this densely packed neighborhood of attractions, shops and restaurants retain this unique character? It escaped Baron Haussmann's planning reform of the city, thus retaining a more ancient ambience. Arc de Triomphe. Number 5. Situated at the western end of the Champs-Élysées, the towering Arc de Triomphe was commissioned by Napoleon to honor the Grande Armée during the Napoleonic Wars. The arch, which is the largest of its kind in the world, is adorned with several impressive, intricately carved sculptures. Underneath the arch, travelers will find the names of the battles fought during the First French Republic and Napoleon's empire, as well as generals who fought in them. Champs-Élysées. Number 4. Musician Joe Dawson once sang "Il tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées," which translates to "There's everything you could want along the Champs-Élysées." And he's right. Paris' most famous boulevard, stretching more than a mile from the glittering obelisk at Place de la Concorde to the foot of the Arc de Triomphe, is a shopper's mecca. Along its wide, tree-lined sidewalks, you'll find such luxury stores as Louis Vuitton and Chanel rubbing elbows with less pricey establishments like Adidas and Zara. Notre Dame Cathedral, Cathedral de Notre Dame de Paris. Number 3. Note that the cathedral sustained significant damage as a result of a fire on April 15, 2019. Its wooden roof and spire collapsed during the fire. The interior of the cathedral remains closed to the public until further notice. It is set to reopen in December 2024. In the meantime, visitors can peruse a new exhibit that debuted in March 2023. It's located in an underground facility in front of the cathedral. The free exhibit highlights the ongoing construction work at the site, including the expertise of the workers, as well as some remains from the fire and works of art from the cathedral. Musée du Louvre. Number 2 in. The Louvre is free for all visitors on the first Friday of the month after 6 p.m., except in July and August, and all day on Bastille Day, July 14th. If you only had time to visit one museum in Paris, it should undoubtedly be the Musée du Louvre. That's because the Louvre is not only widely considered to be one of the best art museums in Europe, but one of the best in the world. The museum first opened its doors in 1793 and features more than 35,000 works of art on display. Here, you can get up close to a variety of art from different time periods and cultures. The Louvre features everything from Egyptian mummy tombs to ancient Grecian sculptures, including the renowned winged Victory of Samothrace and curvaceous Venus de Milo. There are also thousands of paintings to peruse as well. Masterpieces such as Liberty Leading the People by Eugene Delacroix, The Raft of the Medusa by Theodore Géricault, and Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, the museum's biggest star, can be found here. Eiffel Tower, Tour Eiffel. Number 1. For the best photo opportunities of the Eiffel Tower, head to Place du Trocadero. Just expect to contend with some crowds. Designed and constructed for the 1889 Exposition Universelle, the World's Fair, the Eiffel Tower was always meant to be a temporary structure, but it has skirted demolition twice. The first time, in 1909, the tower was kept around because of its potential as a transmission tower. An antenna was installed atop the tower. Gustave Eiffel, chief architect of the Eiffel Tower, had a variety of scientific experiments tested on the tower with the hope that any discoveries would help prolong its lifespan. One of these included a wireless transmissions test, which the tower passed with flying colors.